Go.
All right, Commanders, welcome to the 2011 Media Exchange. This is the Jazz Man, also known as my name is JJ Jazz Monkey. This has been a year of great changes for me. As I've begun the transition from my Ann Arbor home to Los Angeles, I was looking for a connection from that to New Orleans, and I was struggling for what my collection was going to be, and I realized I needed a connection, and who but Randy Newman to make it for me, from New Orleans to LA with the classic song I Love LA. And once I saw that, everything was clear. So I'm going to present this year the I Love LA mix. It's a different kind of mix for me this year. I would say that normally I pull together songs that I hope that you would listen to over and over and over again. This is more of an entertainment. I decided that I wanted to put together a theme. The reason you saw me struggling to make sure this was in the right order is that this is actually put together to take you on a journey. So the first 6 songs on this actually, as it turned out, this was not by design, but when I looked at it, the first 6 songs all actually have the name California in their titles. And we've made a bit of a historical jaunt, starting back with the great Al Jolson, and worked our way up into the present era. But what I decided to do is actually to start with California, where I first arrived, and sort of it was all a big jumble, down to songs about LA. And then, not wanting to stop there, I then have a series of songs which feature particular streets in LA. So you sort of like, you feel yourself coming in from space, landing in California, and then eventually, as you can see on the disc, that's my neighborhood, and my street, actually where I live, is right there. So this is going to land you right where I am, and hopefully share this journey with you. Now you have to listen through this whole thing because it's a journey that takes you all the way through. Some of these will be songs very familiar to you. Others will be hopefully things that you haven't heard before. That will give you a new insight into the nature of LA. And save, of course, the thing that inspired me for last. So make it all the way through, follow my journey, and you'll end up back in New Orleans with Randy Newman singing, I Love LA. Woo!
Okay, the build-up, I guess, has been even greater than whatever this ends up being.
You got it up.
I got it up. Ron has been building this up for a while, and then, like I said, maybe a little excessive, but and the reason it's going to be a media exchange instead of a CD exchange, as you may have guessed already, this is a DVD. And on the DVD, it'll load up and play in your DVD player. And if you have a DVD drive on your computer, it will play on the computer. So what I did was I went out and gathered up a whole bunch of my favorite songs, more than I could actually deal with on a DVD, and put video to. So I picked those things that lent themselves to visuals, and I picked a certain artists and certain songs from those artists to lend themselves to the visuals that are on here. And then I left the rest of the songs that I had considered, and they're on here in a directory. So there's a collection of MP3 files. If you put this in your computer, right in the root directory, right off of here are a bunch of MP3 files which you can extract, drag over, do whatever you want with. So those are available. But the main feature on here is the DVD. And when this comes up on your television screen, it'll come up to the main menu, which has a series of little squares on there, which are menu items for each of the artists. The very first artist on there, the most important artist on this DVD, is Wah. And so I have an intro on here. And so you click on the first square for the introduction, it will do the opening credits, and then you'll hear an introduction from me. I have a little jazz track playing in the background. I explain a little something about the artists that are coming up that you're going to hear. A little history of jazz thrown in there, just a little bit, little pieces. And then it kicks out and you go into the next artist. So you can actually go up and it'll take you right back to the menu as soon as the introduction's finished, or any of the other ones. You also have the option of just down at the bottom of the menu, this is obvious, but there'll be a bunch of squares up here. Down at the bottom will be a loop all, play all. So both of those options are available to you. If all you want to do is just sit down and kick back and watch the whole darn thing from beginning to end, where it doesn't take you back to the menu, you just hit the play all. So if you hit the play all, plays the whole DVD, you'll watch it from beginning to end. If you have any favorite parts you want to come back to, then go back to the menu and click on one of those. And I cheated a little bit because of the layout. The very last artist on there, physically on the DVD, has the closing credits. So closing credits, opening credits are on here. So who's on the disc? If I could, and I'm doing this from memory. I've got Rory Block. I don't know if anybody knows her. She's a blues folk artist. Plays a good acoustic guitar. I've got, I think, 2 or 3 songs by her on here. I have Eric Bibb, if anybody's familiar with Eric. I have one of his pieces on here that was appropriate for New Orleans, which was a song called Floodwater. And it doesn't deal with the Katrina flood, it deals with the 1927 flood, which wiped out a whole bunch of the Mississippi Basin and became the reason for the Army Corps of Engineers taking over flood control. And that particular flood hit properties from New Orleans up to Vermont. I mean, the Mississippi Basin goes from like the Rocky Mountains all the way over to the Appalachians and what have you. I mean, it's a pretty good sized basin. So there are historical photographs from the 1927 flood in there. They're all strung together with the music track in there. And so again, there's the songs that were selected were those that would lend themselves to visuals. Who else is on here? Marlena Shaw, if anybody knows her. Got a few songs there, so it sounds like it's going to be a new artist for you. I've got one for my little homage to my Irish roots. I've got the Irish Rovers doing just one song on here, but they were famous for doing the Unicorn many years ago, covering a Shel Silverstein song that he had written. And we have a phone ringing. Trying to think of, and there's one other artist on here. I'll just leave it as a surprise. When I do the introduction, everybody knows who she is, and I have her singing just one song on there because she's rather famous, and she's doing one of my favorite songs. So that's basically what's on here. The cover artwork here was taken on my last trip here to New Orleans, and it's from that. We were there at that little park, and that's Albert, the bronze statue that's there on Bourbon Street in that little park that has a little bar, and I'm sure you've all been there. So that's it.
Did you tell them we all do extensive DVD?
Je n'ai pas cueilli, j'ai cherché des nids. Je n'ai pas cueilli, j'ai cherché des nids. J'ai trouvé la caille c'est sur son nid. Au chant de l'alouette, je veille et je dors. J'écoute l'alouette, puis je m'endors. J'ai trouvé la caille c'est sur son nid. J'ai trouvé la caille c'est sur son nid. Je marchais sur l'aile, je lui rompis. Au chant de l'alouette, je veille et je dors. J'écoute l'alouette, puis je m'endors. Je lui marchais sur l'aile, je lui rompis. Je lui marchais sur l'aile, je lui rompis. Elle me dit, Pucelle, retire-toi, dis.